Brandon Gaston, host Style Speaks, episode, what is this, 3 or 4? I think this is episode 4.
It should
episode
be number 1. Just saying.
Should have been number 1.
Just
you know,
I'm not like my feelings were hurt.
You know, I had to get my feet wet though. you know, I knew you would be one of my top guests, but I had to get my feet wet. So, like, so if you guys follow me, you already know who this is.
Who this?
Guy.
New phone.
Who this is? Arun Sharma. Let me see. Well, how do we want to introduce you? So, GM Ferrari.
That's me.
You know, restaurateur. You got a couple. Okay. Model this year. cover story. Broke into the bottom.
Yeah, finally check that off the list.
Check that off the list. Man of the Year candidate.
That's right.
There we go. That's a lot.
That's right. We got a lot going on.
So normally I start off with a story, but I think for you, people always assume that I've known you like forever.
Right.
And they only know that I've only known you for maybe it's been a year and a half, I think.
And everywhere I go, if you're not around, they go, "Oh, where's Brandon?"
Exactly.
Like we don't ever go anywhere together.
Yeah, like we're at the hip.
I feel like sometimes it's almost like that Superman Clark Kent thing.
There you go. No, and I was saying it at the event we were at the other day, and someone was like, "Oh, friend goals." Because I was like, yeah, we've only known each other. It's only been a couple years. Right? But it's like, so, okay, I think we should start with that, how we met. Because I remember what it was. Okay, see, there you go. So that's why he's guest number 4.
Oh, my God.
So it was at the Ferrari
I do remember. Yeah, it all comes back.
And the reason why I know is
you came with Julie.
Came with Julie.
That's
I
right.
came with Julie. And someone actually asked me about you before. And they were like,
and likewise.
Okay, yeah, they're
everyone
like,
assumed we knew each other.
Yeah, they're like, oh, which is okay. I talk to all the time. Like people in Portland, you'll know 50 of the same people, but you'll be like, never met. And so, a situation whereas I met you, and then we were at the Ferrari party, and then it was funny because we took a photo at the Ferrari party, and it was like we were different. Every shade of brown was represented,
and then one white guy.
Yeah, exactly. At the end. So that's how we met. So. Okay, but now you're GM Ferrari. You've been there for like 6 years. Let's go out where you started. You are from Portland originally.
Oh.
No. So let's go.
This is why we're best friends, because you know nothing about me.
Actually, so what's great is whenever I do these interviews, I do, research. And today I told you I was
clearly did no research.
I wasn't going to do, no, I said you're not from Portland originally. I know that.
Okay,
you're not from Portland. I know that much.
All right.
But it's always interesting finding out how they got here, right? And I know you took a, motorcycle trip. Yeah. And your dad and your mother and your sister's professors. See, I know.
Look at that. Okay. All right, I'll give you that.
So my question is, I could not imagine you as a professor. Was that going to be the direction you were going to go, or was that never even an option?
No, that was never an option. My mom and my dad were both professors, but I was a kid, so you rebel. I mean, some kids embrace what their family does, and I rebelled. I hated it. I was like a terrible student.
Okay.
Honestly, I was a punk, and I don't know why I was a punk, because my mom and my dad are amazing, amazing people. And they never put a lot of pressure on me, but as a kid, I think I just thought they did, or I just didn't want to work. I didn't want to go to school. So I would rebel and all this other stuff. But I couldn't imagine being a professor. In hindsight, I mean, they got a pretty good gig, right? Like they have summers off, a couple classes a week. Yeah. Every 7 years, they have sabbatical.
Yeah.
I mean, my sister's listening, and she'll tell me, give me a break. It's hard work, right? Yeah. That being said, it's kind of cool. The thing I think is cool about being a professor is, like, you're always in touch with today's youth. Every day, like you're always like there's no one who's closer as they age to what's going on in the real world with the youth of today than teachers, which is cool.
I mean, because the kids are the pulse of what's going on. I mean, so it's funny because I don't know everything about it. So my family all went to work at Freightliner. My dad was a truck driver. My brother, my 2 older brothers, my sister, uncles, everyone worked at Freightliner. So as a kid, I was like, that's where I'm not going to work.
Yep.
I knew for a fact, like, I'm not going to do what they're doing.
Sure.
And so it was a situation where I was like, I've always been like, I want to do something different.
That could be too. I mean, I have a lot of friends who, especially with motorcycles or a lot of stuff, the guys will say, oh, my kid will never, like, I'm into cars, I'm into motorcycles, my kid hates them.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
But I think that's that natural disposition to be against whatever your parents are into.
Which is funny because sometimes then it comes full circle later on. But they actually end up liking it later on. So you're on a bike trip cross country.
Yep.
Get in an accident.
Yep.
And you're like, okay, Arizona's not the place.
Yeah. Well, I broke my back. I broke my shoulder. Life flight, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Third-degree burns on my arms. Figured that Arizona's not the place.
Yeah.
Which is funny because we keep talking about how cool
Arizona,
it is
exactly.
Arizona.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, all the time. Again, full circle.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I love Arizona. It's funny. The thing is, it's like for me, and I think I told you, I have a motorcycle license. Or it's not current.
Yeah, that's what
it's not current.
Yeah.
So my uncle, who you probably know my uncle, Bill Mitchell.
Yes.
Okay, so that's my we talked about this. That's my uncle. So he got a bike years ago, and so we took the classes together, and I got the classes, and I had this dirt bike. They used to do them at Rockaway out in like Hillsborough area.
Wow.
PCC, and so I got the license, but I never got a bike.
Listen, if you're not into it, you're not into it.
Yeah.
But if you are, there's nothing more fun in the world.
Well, I think what happened is I didn't get it immediately, and then the people I worked with, they were super bike people, and they were just like, "Look, it's not a matter of if; it's you're gonna get an accident."
Yeah, of course.
And I was just like, "Oh, man, that's not for me. That's not for me."
I don't want to mess up this face.
I know this is my money maker. I got a face for TV, or what? But I'm doing podcasts. Go
right.
figure.
What does that say?
Go figure. So so you get in an accident, but you come to Portland.
I come to Portland. I go home to Hawaii to recuperate. I don't know where I want to go. I graduated from school. I lived all over the United States and a lot of the world with my family. And I had two friends that had moved to Portland out of college because we had a mutual friend who was from Portland who went to this school with us in Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
So these friends of mine moved out here, and they're just like, "Oh, well, Portland's cool. You should come check that out."
Yeah.
And I had nothing else on the radar, nothing planned. So I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
So I came out here. They were living, and I came out here with one of my oldest and best friends from Hawaii. He came out here with me, Josh, and these guys were living in this like little apartment right off of Gran. In fact, I walked by that place the other day, and we were like sleeping on the floor.
Okay.
And that was it. We just started in Portland.
Yeah. Portland's one of those places that when you get here, you like sucks you in though.
Yeah, it's a strange. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to leave pretty quickly, but I never did.
Yeah.
But I never did.
And so for me, I've always wanted to leave, but for whatever reason, I've always kept here. I've always stayed here, and then now it's like as I get older, I understand why people appreciate it, but it's like still I feel like
we talk about this all the time. How there are things about Portland that you love so much.
Exactly.
And I'm sure it's any city. I don't care if you're in LA, New York, Topeka, Kansas. There's things about where you love where you live that you love, and then there's things you just can't stand. You're bored. You're ready to move out. And Portland's weird because Portland's changing so much. So Portland's always been. Portland's got this weird sleepy energy, right? Because it's so quiet and nobody really goes out and nobody does it. I mean, that's my feeling.
That's my feeling too.
Unless it's like beer or coffee, nobody gets too excited about anything.
Exactly.
But at the same time, there's this crazy amount of innovation, right? Creativity, individual expression that happens here that, I mean, I travel all over the world and I don't see that in almost any other city. But I don't understand how you can have so many creatives who then also create such a sleepy town. So it's very opposite. And the thing is, for me, it's like for me being a creative, I feel like a creative here. It's like one of the aspects of why I'm able to create because I don't have the allure of doing anything else. Sure. Yeah. It's literally I have that time. You know, if I was in LA, if I was in Chicago, New York, if I was in Miami, too many options, too many distractions.
I'd be too stimulated. Yeah. There's no way I'd be able to just be like, okay, I'm going to do this. But here it's like, well, shit, I'm not missing as much. And then at the same time, I can go out every 3 months, 6 months, and meet everyone. So you're here, Portland, and then you what are you doing? You become an art dealer?
No, I moved to Portland, and I do odd jobs. Okay. In fact, what's funny is one of my first jobs, I used to work for a temp agency, and one of my first jobs in Portland was I was the guy that rolled out the carpet for the Portland Auto Show. Like straight up, it was amazing, right? So when I went back...
And now you work for Ferrari.
I know, so when I went back to the auto show, running a Ferrari dealership, and I saw the guys, like we were doing setup, and I see these guys rolling carpet, I was like, man, that was me. Like I did, when I moved to Portland, that was my job. It was a trip to come full circle from being the guy that was a carpet roller to being the guy representing the most prestigious brand in automotive in the world. Like that was a real wake up call. No, and not to get preachy, but I've always been a big believer. Like that's why you work hard, right? Absolutely. You don't wait for it. You don't expect anybody to hand you out anything. You just put your I mean I've never had one job in my life. I've always had 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs, hustles, whatever. Mm-hmm. And sooner or later it works out. Yeah. No, I mean I feel like you create what you want. That's it. I tell people all the time, like a joke, I'm like, I create my world. You know what I mean? As far as what I want to do, what I want to accomplish, I can't wait for someone else to do it. I mean, even me being a stylist in Portland 4 years ago, what I want to do is an oxymoron. It didn't even exist. There's people I know that were doing it, but it was like a stylist in Portland, Oregon. What's the point? Right. Like why? Right. Way of all places, like we are known for dressing casually. Right. And we're the center of Nike and Adidas. Dressing badly and casually. Like, why would you do that? And I was, there's a situation where I had to do it here,
But it was like, I was like, I'm going to make it happen. Like, this is me, and this is how I made it happen. So fast forward, you do become an art dealer because
So I stopped doing temp jobs,
okay.
and I started being a picture framer. So one of my roommates, who I moved here to Portland with, he worked at an art. It's all family, right? So so Julie, who was from Portland, whose family took us all in, like adopted like 3 kids from college. They're like family to this day. The Amato family, they're amazing. They took us in. Julie's uncle, Steve, and his wife, Denise, had an art gallery in Portland, right? So they're like, hey, my friend Todd, who was my roommate from school, worked for them as a picture framer. They go, hey, we need another picture framer for a big job we're doing. Sure, I needed a job, so I made like $10 an hour under the table. And I literally was like, I went to work every day in a basement and like cut picture frames and glass. I still got scars from where like I cut glass and I broke it, cut myself. So I did that for years, and then I just learned our business. Like just by nature, whatever I do, I go all in. I learn, I absorb. And so I went from being a picture framer to learning about how to do sales and run an art business. And I eventually just quit. I tried to get them to kind of see there was another way to do the business than they were doing.
You're visionary.
Yeah, because the way they were doing it wasn't working, right? And they said, nope, not into it. So I left, and I got a business loan, and I started my own art brokering company. And this is Portland, like in the late 90s. Yeah. So nobody was doing that. I mean,
exactly.
Portland, right? But same thing. So I would, here I am, this 26, 27, long-haired kid, and next thing I know, I'm like trying to do like, Peter Max, Andy Warhol, Picasso, contemporary Chinese art, and nobody in Portland was doing it. And it was fun. And that was the day of age of like fax machines and phone calls. But it's also where you start building relationships with networking right away, right? Absolutely. So that was an amazing experience.
What people don't realize, like I said, in Portland, like there's the aspect of being first in this space, but then there's also the education that requires when you're first in the space. Mm-hmm. And so it's like we talk about all the time, Portland doesn't have celebrities per se.
Correct.
Right? But at the same, and so there's the opportunity. There's an opportunity within that, but there's also the fact that there's no celebrities per se. Right? So how does someone break into that? How does someone build themselves as a personality? And not that we're saying we're celebrities or anything like that.
But say you're a celebrity all the time.
I refuse to say it.
Many people don't know, but your original hashtag was the celebrityist.
Yeah,
only you couldn't figure out how to spell it. So you changed that to the LifeSTYLest.
It wasn't available on IG. No, but even like being a stylist though, or like they're like, oh, you were here, great timing, right? And there was an aspect of timing, but I was like, there was a time where also I had to educate the marketplace because the market wasn't mature, and so I'd be like, "Yo, this actually is this is a real thing."
But it's funny, real quick. You say people would always say great timing because I hear some version of that. It's always funny because when people say great timing, they assume that you just thought of this yesterday and boom, launched today. What they don't realize is that this is something you've been working on and hustling towards and educating for years based on the belief that it's important to you or it will play out and come to fruition. So you didn't it's not great timing.
No.
You were always in it, and then the timing, it was a combination of you creating it and the timing appearing.
Exactly.
But if it's like the stock market. Like I was talking to a friend of mine about the stock market recently, about how everyone's freaking out. When do you buy into the stock market? Because things are crazy right now. Yeah. Oh, you want to try to time it? You can't time it right. So you just get in, and then if the market responds, so it's not great timing, it's just luck.
Exactly.
But you can't just decide to do it one day. So what you're talking about, what you're doing and what I was doing, you did it for years with almost no results, but believing in yourself and believing in the process and believing in what it could be one day. Yeah. Right? It's like, there are a lot of people who have dreams and they follow those dreams, big or small. And for every successful Elon Musk, there are hundreds of thousands of people that had some version of idea that never came to be. Yeah. But they tried. At some point, you either give up or you die trying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But there's no such thing as good timing.
I don't think so either. But let's talk about that for a while because I feel like, too, what people don't realize, there's a lot of failures. There's a lot. There's years of until the timing meets, right? Where people have no idea. I tell people all the time, like, look, I'm in Portland, but I'm Friday night, Saturday. You guys are out at the clubs. I'm younger. I'm not hanging out. I'm at the house, like looking at movies. Reading magazines, reading business books with a self-education. So maybe now you might see it, but like there was 3 years of nothingness.
Well, and you talk about failures. That's another thing that I think separates success, right? And success is all relative, and I don't mean success in the IG social media way that people use the word success. I mean like honest to goodness success. Yeah. Success isn't measured in money. success it's probably more measured in satisfaction than anything else. I had a phenomenal conversation with a guy just last night, and we were talking about, people in the market, and this guy was a friend of mine who just moved down to San Francisco. He's huge in the tech industry.
Okay.
And he was talking about all these guys he meets in tech who are these young tech millionaires. He meets these people, and there's a whole group of people that they view their success by, I made my first $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? I made $5 million. I made all this money on options. I made all this money on stock. And this guy had a really amazing insight. He goes, I don't care how much money you have. My success, the way I view success and your success is how much money you've been able to create for other people to have success. So if you're, if you sit at home and you're a stock trader and you've made millions and billions of dollars, that's cool. But my respect is for the person who created a workplace and an opportunity for other people and their families to invest, to have jobs, to create, to grow. Like at my motorcycle shop for the longest time, I would push my staff to go get jobs out in the industry, because that, at a bike dealership, it's just a dealership. But in the industry, if you could work for Ducati, work for Dainese, work for these big companies, that was the goal. And every one of my peers who ran other dealerships or owned dealerships thought it was crazy, because I would groom and push my friends and coworkers to go get jobs someplace else.
Yeah.
Right? And that was harder for me, because now I had to find somebody else, train somebody, replace them. But what was better for them, it was better for their life, was to do the next thing, not to just sell clothes or motorcycles at a bike shop every day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the cool thing is when I would meet people, I would want to hire somebody who wouldn't want to stick around. Like typically you'd hire somebody, what's your dream in 5 years? Well, sir, I'd like to be here and be the best employee you've ever had. Fuck that. Yeah. I wanted somebody who said, I want to take over the road. I want to learn about motorcycle clothes, because my dream is to open my own motorcycle apparel company. Cool, that's who I want to hire. Right? Because
I'd rather be the bridge.
Right.
I'd rather be the bridge of someone else's goals and dreams and ideals.
Amen.
And
100%.
assist them along the way and be a part of that process.
100%.
Than someone that doesn't have any goals and dreams.
Every time I would hear about a job that was relevant in the industry, I would pick up the phone and say, I have somebody working for me that you would be an idiot if you did not interview.
Yeah.
And that's business suicide. But at the same time, it was, this is the best thing for these people, and it ended up, the business is still fine anyway. You just work around.
And the thing is, what people, so there's a book I want to read, and it's called, The Infinite Game. Simon Sinek.
Oh yeah, Simon's good, yeah.
But it talks about essentially that aspect of when people that want to make the most money, whatever, it's like they create an environment that's the best to work for. You know what I mean? Where they care the most about their employees, where they push them on the bigger and better things that might seem like that's suicide, right? That's business suicide. But word gets out. I have someone that I work for that, the people that you push along, they're going to tell all their friends, this is the most amazing job I've ever had. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're going to compare that also what they go to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's better to be that bridge than to hold them back. So you are jumped ahead. So you're at Ducati now.
So yeah, so then I ended up working at Ducati.
Did you know that art broker website's still up?
Mine?
Yeah.
I mean, I own the URL.
Okay.
I own all kinds of URLs.
Okay.
I used to own. I won't tell you.
Oh no! I just looked today and I was like, I was gonna ask him. Do you still know art broker?
Is it got a website?
Yes, a website.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Still up.
Oh wow!
And it says something like, if you need art, whatever.
That's proof that whatever happens on the internet stays forever.
Right.
Wow, I haven't done that. I actually have a huge art collection. I still have a bunch of Salvador Dali stuff, and I still have clients out of the blue that'll call me up and say, hey, what do you think about this? Or I was talking to a guy recently about helping him find some Andy Warhol. So it's fun. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah. So you still.
But I didn't know that was still up.
It's still up. Yeah. Literally, I was just there. And I was like, I was looking to see if your name was on there. I was like, does he still know this is still?
I'll check that out.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
But talk about failures, right? Like, there's a whole bunch of endeavors that I launched, like a wine company and a coffee company. I mean, company's a big, grandiose word. Company sound. It's like that's the other thing. Everyone on IG is a CEO.
Oh my goodness.
Everyone's a CEO, right?
Everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone's a motivational speaker.
Right. So I don't claim any of that shit. But you have ideas, and I never thought of them as companies, but it's the easiest way to describe it, right? So I started a wine label and a coffee label. Well, they were fun. To me, the way they succeeded, they were commercial failures, right? Yeah. Like, put a bunch of money out. I probably broke even maybe, but I didn't care about that. I had an idea in my head. Wouldn't it be cool if?
Yeah.
And what's awesome is to look out and go, wow, there's this thing in the world that never existed in the world until I decided to make it happen.
Yeah.
And then, it didn't change the world, but I have so many people who would have it, and they loved it. It was a big deal. They love it. I still get pictures of people, like, they'll send me pictures like, here's that wine I got from you, and I just opened it up, and they love it, and they're stoked, and you just have an idea. But they were ultimately failures. I put a lot of, if you look at it from a business point.
From a business perspective.
But I think they're successes.
Absolutely. But the thing is also, too, what a lot of times failures, the things that appear to be failures or camouflage as failures really are successes for the next thing.
Sure.
Because I looked at I did a magazine. I was literally just looking at it the other day in full circle, like talking about the media part.
You did a magazine?
I did a magazine.
Oh,
I did two magazines.
I got to tell you about my magazine.
Okay. So I did 2 magazines, and it was literally that situation. It was like, okay, I want to do something new. For me, it's like, what can I do that's different? Like suit and sip. Like I want to do something that people don't think it can happen. We'll get back to that. I want to do. So I was like, I want to do a magazine. I've never done a magazine before in my life.
What magazine?
No idea.
What was your magazine?
It was called LifeSTYLest Report.
Oh, okay.
So and I say it was a magazine. It was a digital version.
Yep.
And literally, I was just like, okay, I'll do it. Literally, I'll do it. So I did the magazine, took photos, wrote a couple articles, whatever. Made a digital version, printed it out, and then I did another version, and we actually had it laid out. It was at Fashion Next. They actually had it at the after party. It was like whatever. And I did a winter version, and it was like they would be considered failures. Like I didn't sell it. I didn't have ad space. I did advertisement, whatever. But fast forward, 3-4 years, and like now I'm thinking about doing media and things like that. I have that experience
that
I can build upon.
Yep.
And even like Style Speaks. If you go through my phone, you'll see like 100-something ideas. There was a I used to do
That's
Instagram
so funny.
Live.
For me, I have the to-do list.
Okay, yeah. So
it's
I have
so long.
I have a business tab and a marketing tab.
Yep.
To like 200,
Yep.
right? There's this thing I used to do. Some people might remember when I was the first on Instagram. I had this show called Fame. Fame's acronyms for fashion. Was it art? No, fashion, art, music, and entrepreneurism. Okay. And we did IG Live, and it was me and a salon stylist, and we talked about just business shit, right? Whatever. She ended up moving to Seattle, and so it didn't happen. And literally fast forward, now I'm doing Style Speaks.
Right.
Just like legit podcast.
And like you said, get your feet wet, try it out.
Try it out, see what doesn't work. Because there's so many, like, you literally have to do it and figure out what doesn't work before, you know what I mean? Like, I've learned more from doing than I am from like, okay, let me wait. Let me try to figure out the marketplace. Let me see what they're,
I've always said I would 8,000 times over rather learn from someone's mistakes than their successes.
Without question. You can learn more from mistakes.
Yep. When people just follow like, oh, how were you so successful? Oh, you make a lot of mistakes, right?
Exactly. But the thing is, you have to be willing to fail.
Correct.
And now it's even harder with social media because people are unwilling to fail.
Well, so everyone wants to make it look like they're
successful.
Which, to be fair, like we don't like we're both very active on social media, right? But we don't. I don't know about. I can't keep it with all of your. You have so much. Yeah. I can't keep it with all of it. But I don't know. Like, do you have times that you get on and you talk about, like, if you're having a bad day, you're in a bad mood, you're depressed, you're sad. Do you only come on when you got something positive or uplifting, you're in a good mood? Because that's where I wonder about the transparency or the authenticity about social media. Like, if you're really going to be authentic, I've thought about waking up in the morning half asleep, pissed off. Like lately, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I actually have a lot of anxiety going on right now, which is weird because from the outside, all cool, calm, and collected. But the reality is, like, last couple of weeks, man, I wake up with all kinds of anxiety. I have weird dreams, and when I wake up in the morning, like, I'm like, fuck, I'm not even ready for today. Yeah. Right? So then I go, well, do you share that? Because everybody always gives all the positive. Oh, man, kumbaya, look at my new Gucci shoes, and I'm traveling on a fucking plane. But that's not real life. That's not real life, right?
So for me, I will say I'm transitioning into that where I'm sharing more. Right. For me, I was always like superficial shit. I think honestly during the show too has allowed me to open up more because I brought people on that have shared stuff, and a part of the reason why I want to do it, I was like, I want to bring people that actually that appear successful and they are successful in a lot of ways, but talk about the real shit. Sure. Because some people only see that side. I know for me, I've shared things that are like I said on my post recently. I was like, I had anxiety when I used to be a public speaker. Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't talk. Mm-hmm. Like my first time on TV, I told them I couldn't talk.
We talked about that.
You know what I mean? So, I mean that's just one example. But I've started to share shit to say, like I have that. Now, do I also feel there's a level of responsibility to a certain degree? So I don't really feel bad that often. I mean, I have stressed out days. I have fucked up days. So let's be clear. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's a certain responsibility to be like, okay. I try to be as positive as possible and share that. But I think there would be a benefit if I was just like, yo, today fucking sucks.
I remember, and I don't remember when it was, but I got introduced to Gary Vee back in the late, back in like 2005 because my now ex, she was into wine. Okay. In fact, that's the whole reason the whole wine thing came up. This is the power of women, by the way. I didn't drink until I was 37 years old. I didn't drink alcohol until I was 37. Then I met this girl.
Women rule the world.
And this beautiful woman who I had, she was like a pedestal woman, and she was super into wine. Next thing you know, I'm like, hey, you want to hang out and have some wine? and then inside of like a couple of months of dating her, I'm like, I want to start a wine company. Yeah. That's fucking stupid, right? It's just the power of women. But anyway, the power of influence. But she turned me on to Gary Vee. Okay. And so, Gary Vee's obviously, now he's mega in social media. Yeah. Back then, he was just transitioning from wine into social media. Gotcha. And so I would like tweet him back and forth. He would message back. I assume it was him. He came to Portland. We actually hung out. We actually, in this hotel, before it was Dossier, we hung out. He came to Powell's to do a book reading, and he and I had been tweeting back and forth in advance. Okay. I came to the book reading, recognized each other, and came downstairs. I don't remember what Dossier was before.
I stayed here before it was Dossier.
But we came here after it was book
Was it the
reading.
Paramount?
Maybe, I don't know.
It was something.
And we sat downstairs in the bar, and we had wine together, and just talked, and it was super cool. Yeah. But I remember, so I started following him, and what I remember powerful-wise was he was on a plane, and he made some video, and he was like in a bad space. And I don't remember the content of it, but I remember that he was in a really bad space. And here's a guy who's always throwing F-bombs and mega confident and throwing out all this positivity. And he shared something on, and I don't remember if it was Facebook or social, I don't remember what it was. But, he was just in a bad space. And he literally had like his hoodie on. Yeah. He's on a plane, and he was tired, and he had some stuff. And he just said, hey, I got to tell you, like, I'm having a rough time right now. And that's when I became a Gary Vee fan. Because, I mean, he's brilliant. It was real. But the authenticity, I think, is what sucked me in. And so this day, like, he's probably the one person I follow more than anybody else. Yeah. And I think that moment had a lot to do with it, right?
I don't know if you saw the last guest, or the episode before with Stephanie. So Stephanie runs Heritage School of Interior Design. Yep. And she wrote that book. And she was saying similar, like she said, before I wrote the book, like I thought people were thinking I'm a freak show. Mm-hmm. She grew up in foster care. She was homeless. You know what I mean? All these other things. You saw the episode. She was like, you don't realize how many people have similar stories. Sure. But they're protecting them too. Correct. Because everyone thinks, oh, I can't share that. Oh, I can't.
Everyone thinks they only have to show the success.
I only share the success. Right? I can't show the
reality is most people have had struggle. I mean, there's a few people that live with these charmed golden lives, but the reality goes through it. You go through. You have problems with your family, health, cancer, money, homelessness. I mean, now more than ever. Everything. But I think the idea that people think that they only have to show this magical gilded life, it's a shame, man. Like because you can show your normal life, exactly, and that's engaging too. And I think that also gives people some hope, right? Well,
some context, and I think, like I said, and some of the things I do share is because of that. But also, I feel like I lost my train of thought. But it's like when you share the normal stuff. I just had a post. I'm like, share what you know, not what you've heard, right? But you can show that you're failing or you went through the process. Yeah. Like I wish in this regard, I would have showed 3 years ago when I was home on a Friday night. Like nobody knew who I was. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew, people that knew me as Brandon Gass, and no one knew me as the LifeSTYLest, whatever. I was at the house. I was in a little apartment. You know what I mean?
All alone.
Reading a book. All alone.
Crying
myself to sleep. Didn't get any DMs. My DMs weren't blowing up. Not that I get DMs now, but my DMs weren't blowing up. I was just at the house, whatever. But that's real. But that's a part of the process. Sure. Yeah. That's a part of the process.
Those lonely nights.
They don't know. So Ducati. You're at Ducati.
At Ducati. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because you guys were #1 in the country, right?
Yeah, we became here in Portland. We became the biggest Ducati dealer in North America 6 times in 10 years. So it's like going to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. 6 times in a decade. Yeah. And actually, to be fair, we were like a top 1, 2, or 3 dealer forever. And so basically, they go to Super Bowl every single year, but we won.
So you're the Patriots of Ducati.
I mean, I'm from Hawaii, and we don't really follow football. I don't follow football, so yes, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, that's
I used to like the Cowboys and the Raiders. So that's all I know.
So you were like the Jordan Bulls era.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, I'll take that. I'll take that.
You were the '90s Bulls.
Yeah,
of Ducati.
yeah.
So,
Pippen,
exactly.
Rodman.
Yes. Yeah, Bill Cartwright.
So we did that. We won more awards than anybody else and had a lot of fun. But the thing is, we had a lot of fun. Like we had a very different approach to business, right? So the attitude and the approach to engagement and creating a culture and that whole environment was kind of unlike what anybody else was really doing. No, it resonated. People loved it, right? Well, they loved it.
So one thing I hear, and one thing you said earlier, so you were doing the art, and you were trying to tell the family, hey, this is the way you should do it. They didn't respond, and then you went on your own. Yep. Right? So Ducati, you were with Ducati, you were going to quit.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Going to quit.
Yeah, it was
similar thing. So you knew, you saw something, and you were like, hey, this has to be different. Yeah. And then, but it's a pattern.
Right.
Yeah.
It's perspective, right?
Perspective.
Like I think what happens, like when I got this chance to take over this bike shop, I had worked at a motorcycle store for 2 days a week part time for a year and a half. Not even a year and 2 months.
So you weren't even full time.
No. And it's a bizarre set of situations that gave me this opportunity. But on top of that, all the people I hired essentially had never worked in the bike industry either.
And you fired everybody.
Young, fired everybody who was there. But I think when you're institutionalized, right, then you only have the view.
That perspective.
Right.
What are we just talking about?
All the time. We talk about that all the time.
The thing is, when you don't know something, is almost the benefit.
Correct. So I think some of the most successful people are people who come from one industry, come into something radically different, and apply the things that they see that would otherwise be like,
mind-blowing.
Who would do that, right?
Yeah, you're too close to it, and you're just like, why? Like, there's, like, even for me, like, the things that I've gained the most from is shit I had no idea.
Sure.
Like, no idea. Like, I talk about how I can talk on stage. Like, I was just random. I was doing credit card processing, and I was just like, I want to do a fashion show. It made sense to me, and I'm now on this board of directors. I want to do a fashion show, and I'm just going to leverage that title, and I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to do a networking event. And I have no idea what it's like to put on an event. I have no idea what it's like to do a fashion show. Collier was a friend, so I got clothes. I had no friends as models. I was like, I'm going to put people in clothes. No clue. No nothing. I literally got on stage, unscripted. Like, we went through the walkthrough the day before, and I was just so overwhelmed. I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. People are not showing up.
Like, go for it.
Just go for it. I got on stage and literally just started talking. And no clue. I tell people all the time when I give presentations, I'm like, had I known, it wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't be here. Had I known what it was, had I known how hard it was.
And that's the other thing. You talk to anybody who's been, I don't care how massively successful they've been or if they had good timing or whatever, every single person, when you talk about what they've achieved, they all say the same thing. And they mean it. If you had said to me in the beginning, here's where you're going to be in 10 or 15 years, but here's what you're going to have to do to get there, they'd all say thanks but no thanks.
Exactly.
Right?
I'll flip that. So now for me, it's hard when I hear people that are overly optimistic about going into situations. And for me, I don't want to rain on their parade, right? But when I hear someone, like social media age, right? They're like, oh, I want to be, and I've been there. I want to be a millionaire in 6 months. Oh, I'm going to, change the world. And I'm just like, you know what? You can, but it's not going to be in 6 months. Right. But
you got to temper your expectations.
Exactly. But I feel like a part of the reason why they quit and don't get to where they want to go is because they think it's going to be 6 months.
Well, they think it's going to be easy.
They think it's going to be easy, and they don't have the persistence to stick with it because they're so overwhelmed. It's like, okay, and maybe they don't love it enough either.
I think here's something else which is interesting about social media. Like, if you go pre-social media, the people who are entrepreneurs, innovators, they literally were innovators. They didn't see something. Right? So many people who do stuff who are creators or entrepreneurs now, they've seen any number of things already presented in the world through social media, and they go, oh, that's an idea. I've got an idea for something like that.
Exactly.
Well, go back 10 years. Nobody had that. So you were literally sitting, you woke up one morning.
You were literally a creator.
Yeah, you woke up one morning and go, man, I have this idea. I've never seen this before. What about this? Yeah. And so it's not to take away from people who want to create or have ideas today. I'm not saying that those ideas are invalid. I'm not saying they're any less than. But the reality is that if you look at people who created pre-social, I will say that they had more authentic creativity. They were real creators. That doesn't mean that doesn't disqualify everybody. Like it's kind of like this damn virus going around. You can backtrack it to the start, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So when it comes to ideas and innovation today, somebody somewhere thought of an idea that was truly original, regardless of social media being an avenue to get inspiration. Cool, great. But from there, all these copycats or all these other things happen. And I appreciate anyone who wants to try anything. I'll stand behind anybody who has an idea or has a dream. But I do think that, to your point, like, people now, they think it's easy. Yep. They think it's going to happen overnight. And also, like, what's the end goal? Like I feel like people I talked to before, they had an idea they just wanted to get out and add to the world because they wanted the idea to exist.
Exactly.
I feel like today, the people that I talk to care less about what the idea is and more about
the result.
How will the idea make me look?
Exactly. Or how much money can I make for the idea?
So the motivations are flawed, right? From my perspective.
Well, we were just saying, we just had lunch, and it's literally like you were talking about something, and it's like from a creator. Like, I think as a real creator, like, the love is just in creating.
Sure.
Like, it's not like for me, like, I realized, and when I was doing credit card processing, I'm not motivated by money.
Right, me neither.
Like, I'm not motivated by money.
Zero.
It doesn't. Now, the things I want to do now while I'm doing it is because I love doing it.
Yep.
Now, will money come as a byproduct if I reach my goals and legacy? Yes. But money is like,
correct.
It's just there. It's just an option. And it's going to allow me to do things.
And the money is the byproduct. And
the byproduct.
And also, if you're really passionate about
it's not the motivation.
Right. And which goes back to that initial conversation about what defines success.
Yeah.
And there are people who define it as just money.
Yeah.
Right? But I think that those are people who have ultimately unfulfilled lives. And so people who say success is fulfillment. Yeah. Success is the success of others around you.
Absolutely.
Then I think that's, in a lot of ways, easier to achieve and more honest, right?
Well, I think also going to Gary Vee, it's more fulfilling. You're happier.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because you realize, and I know people that do it, money. It's like money. If it's a byproduct, that's fine. But money alone is not making them happy.
Correct, and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. Right? It can allow you to do things, but I mean, makes things easier. So going to creator. So for even like Sit and Sip, like for me, not that it's a new concept, but even like the things I like to do, I'm like, I want to do something that hasn't existed.
Sure.
I want to do something different. So let's talk about that, because I think that just came apart. That was just built in our likeness. That was something that we saw like a need. But it didn't exist.
We talk about that. We talk about that in a lot of ways. In probably the only way that you can use the word selfish positively, we do a lot of the things that we create selfishly because they're things we like to do.
Absolutely.
But there are also things that I think we know that, hey, if other people would do this, they would like it too. I remember when we sat up at Export one time and we were talking about clothes, right? Because obviously that's one thing that's a shared interest.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how good it feels to be well dressed and how we never knew that prior to that. And to try to explain to somebody that it's not trying to show off, it's not trying to be something you're not, but that when you dress well, even if you don't know you dress well, like when you walk down the street and people compliment you, you feel good.
Absolutely.
Right? And so,
absolutely.
And that's, I think that was the
night.
And
if people understood how people knew that feeling,
right,
they would never look at it the way they look at it.
Hashtag called LifeStylest.
Yeah.
So, that's also the conversation we had that Suit and Sip came out. So we were talking about how good it feels to wear a suit, how good it feels to be well dressed,
how much people appreciate you,
and women, frankly, for the most part, that's built into so many women. They do that. They don't need help or tips. They love it. Yeah. And they embrace it, right? Yeah. But men don't get it, right?
Yeah.
And so we talked a lot about how if guys only knew how good it felt just to wear a good suit, just to wear some nice clothes, right?
Just to put on a suit and how they feel, how they walk, how they talk.
To have a cool tiger sweater from Zara that looks dope.
You're right?
Right?
Yeah. No, but see, I mean, seriously, and I got to tell everyone, like, everyone's had that feeling. At some point, I feel like they just dismissed it. Like for me, whether it was your high school prom, whether it was a wedding day, like you've seen that. It's like, yo, look, let's do that more often.
Right.
And I don't care what anyone people love compliments.
Yep.
Like I don't care who you are, what you say. Like when someone acknowledges your outfit.
But hang on, but let's break down that for 2 seconds. Here's the reality. No matter what you want to measure, compliments are the measure of success. If you're a business and someone gives you their money, that money is just a compliment to your idea.
Yeah.
Right? Anytime someone gives you money, for something you've created, it's just a compliment.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, no,
So it's funny that somehow people say, oh, it's vain to enjoy getting a nice compliment. But the reality is everything you do in your life is some version of compliment. Everybody who's going to go see a shrink in their life will lie down on a couch and tell that shrink how they're just looking for that compliment and that validation from mom and dad.
Exactly.
Right? Everybody's just looking for that, right? So it's no different. But the cool thing is, so that was but anyway, so that was the day we started the whole conversation about student sip, and how if people just had an excuse to dress up, because Portland's very anti dressing up, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, going back to why,
dude, I wear a suit walking down the street, and I swear people look at me like I'm a fucking alien. Right?
Oh, yeah, I tell the story all the time.
It's so funny.
When I was doing processing, how I got into the fashion was I was always fashionable. I'm like, I'm gonna wear a blazer or a tie every day. I'm like, do you know what it's like being a man in Portland wearing a blazer, tie on a Tuesday?
Right.
Like, you can't walk downtown.
It's crazy.
Like, and the thing is, for everyone that says something, 20 people are thinking it. Right. So I have someone. It's a conversation. Like, and I'm outgoing to a degree, but I'm also my literally style speaks. People will start. It's a conversation starter. So you'll walk down Pioneer Square with a blazer on all day. Yeah. Men, women, everyone. Funny. It's like, oh, who are you? Who are you?
But it's also funny because culturally, because if you go to London, to New York, that's just normal.
It's expected,
right?
It's expected.
That's just normal. But here, so Portland as a city is counterculture. So then, dressing with style and having a suit is the counterculture to the counterculture. Yeah. Right.
Say that. Wait, say that again. So Portland's a counterculture.
Right. Portland is. When it comes to fashion, everyone wants to wear like plaid and have a beard, which is cool. I like the beard part.
Now I'm following. Yeah.
But it's a counterculture, right?
Hashtag beard god.
Right. So if you wear a suit or you dress fashionably, then you are the counterculture to the counterculture.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's where the idea of student sip came from, right? So sitting around going, wouldn't it be cool to find a way to make people in Portland, especially men, because women don't need an excuse to dress up. Women are beautiful every day, and they wear beautiful clothes and dresses and shoes. They're lucky. That's their thing. But dudes don't get it, right? So we thought, wouldn't it be cool to find a way to kind of almost force men or give them an opportunity to want to dress well? So we came up with the idea, hey, I've got this bar, we got a location, let's do it at Vault. It's in the Pearl, it's Central. So we did this idea, third Wednesday of every month, not too much, not too little. No. But man, you have to wear a suit to show up.
It's the experience.
And people came out, and it builds and it builds and it builds. And here's the thing, and you're there every time. People always, if there's one compliment that we get over and over and over, it's the thank you. I love having an excuse to dress up.
Absolutely. All the time.
And I'm like, why do you need an excuse?
Yeah, no,
but just wake up.
But because, to your point, Portland being the counterculture, of dressing up is the counterculture. Right. People in Portland, if you dress up, they'll acknowledge it, depending on where you are and who you are. But they'll also look at you like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Like, why? Like, you literally get, animosity or question for dressing how you should dress. Yeah. And this is the only place I've ever experienced that, where it's like, why would you? They just don't get this too, just far out. So, but you weren't always in suits. So you came from Ducati to Ferrari. So let's talk about that real quick. Because you weren't always a suit guy.
No, I wasn't. I remember realizing very early on that I had no fashion sense whatsoever. In fact, I remember back when I used to be a door guy at the Sauce Box and Tiger Bar. So check IDs. Yeah. And there was this girl, Vanessa, who I'm still friends with today. But Vanessa worked with me at Tiger Bar, and Vanessa had more swagger and style. This is the '90s, so this is rave culture. Yeah. But she had just crazy style. Like, everything about her was just style. It was rave style. It wasn't like suits, but for that time. And I remember asking her, I'm like, could you just take me shopping? Right? And she was cool.
So she was a stylist.
She was a stylist. Yeah. I will say, like, she bought me, like, it was 90s. I had these, like, bell bottoms. And
you already had the long hair.
I had the long hair. So it was super, super funny. But then I also got that job at the art gallery, and I was a picture framer, right? Mm-hmm. And my first suit, I think it was the first suit I ever bought. I was a picture framer at this art gallery, and they said, hey, we're going to have an art opening with this artist coming in from New York, and and you should dress up. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh man, like, I don't have any dress up clothes. So I'm like, well, I guess I better go to get a suit. So I went to Lloyd Center Mall, and if you remember, there used to be a jam called J. Jacobs.
Okay.
Do you remember J. Jacobs?
I'm trying. I don't know.
That's how long going out of business.
Okay.
So J. Jacobs was your classic mall suit, right?
Okay.
So I'm walking through Lloyd Center and I saw this big sign and it says suit special, $99. I'm like, I'm in. I can swing that. So I walk in and there's this woman who I remember. There was this motivational, or I don't know what. There was a woman named Suzanne Powder back in the day who was like this short blonde, spiky hair, super high energy. So this woman who worked there looked a lot like her. Attractive woman. I walked in and said, hey, I need a suit. I don't even know what to do, so you just tell me.
Yeah.
So she says, great, here's what you need. So she gives me this suit. It was this blue suit. It was very bright blue. I'll never forget. It was for $99. It was suit, shirt, socks, and a tie. Okay. It was head to toe.
Yeah.
So she gets me, she goes, here's what you need. I go, I'm in your hands. And she gives me, it was a purple shirt.
Okay.
It was a blue, purple, white squiggly tie.
Yeah.
Socks, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I felt like the man, right? So I used to wear this suit. I wore it to the art opening, everything else. And every now and again, I would wear this suit. Well, at that time, I also owned my first car I ever owned was a 1971 Impala. It was gold. I swear to God, it was gold. I had a gold Impala that I bought for $1,000 off Craigslist.
Okay.
And I had this suit. And I remember I just felt like I was king of the world.
Yeah.
And I got out of my car, out of my gold Impala in my suit one day. And as I get out of my suit, this guy's walking by and he literally stops in his tracks and he goes, God damn, Miami Vice. And I literally was so embarrassed. I went home and I threw that shit away.
And never again. Never again. Oh man, that's hilarious. But now,
then fast forward when I started doing Ferrari, you got to wear suits. So I actually went back to Brent, who I've known Brent Collier for 25 years.
Yeah.
And back when I was an art broker, I went to Brent. Brent got me some suits, and then I didn't have need for suits for a long time. So I went back to Brent, and he just honestly, he was my stylist, right?
Gotcha,
he would tell me what would look good, and I mean, I could look in the mirror and say I like that or I don't like that. But I got to tell you, like I started wearing this stuff, and it was literally life changing.
So let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about how the impact of style.
Okay.
Because I don't think
that's what the podcast is about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was about branding and pursuing your dreams and passions and all that. But let's talk about that because I've always been into fashion. Obviously, it's changed over time. But you were someone that you said you were in motorcycles. You weren't into fashion.
I never paid attention to fashion.
You never paid attention to fashion.
Ever. Didn't care.
So literally, you are like the prototype of I didn't care about fashion, wasn't into it, and now you really see how impactful it is.
Yep. If you looked at my closet, up until 2014, all you would have seen was a bunch of black clothes and motorcycle jackets.
Yeah.
And I did have two suits that I bought.
Which it could be considered fashionable.
But it wasn't fashionable.
Yeah.
It was just riding gear.
Yeah.
I did buy two suits, my first two suits, which are beautiful Dolce & Gabbana suits, which I still have, which are awesome. Yeah. But I bought them because I needed them. I was going to a wedding, and I'm like, oh, where I got a suit. But that was out of a necessity. I knew they looked good, and I felt good, but I wasn't connected enough, right?
Yeah.
And to your point, I think I also got embarrassed. Like if I wasn't comfortable in my skin, right? So I think a lot of it has to do with confidence.
Absolutely.
Because you can put somebody in a suit, but if they're not comfortable in it, or if they're not ready for it,
it's going to be adverse effects.
Right. So it took me a while to get there. And so when I started working at Ferrari, all of a sudden I'm running a Ferrari dealership. Well, for starters, I just needed work suits, right? So I called Brent up because I started laughing, or he starts laughing. He goes, "Don't worry, I'll get you sorted." He gets me set up, all these suits. Yeah. I start wearing these suits to meetings, everything else, and Brent, it's not a plug. It's what I honestly feel. Like I've traveled all over the world. He's got some of the best clothes around. Yeah. And he just took care of me, got me set up, and I'd go to these meetings, Ferrari meetings, like Ferrari. Yeah. Everyone's in a suit, top of the top, international company, and I'd roll in with these suits. And everybody would, and it's mostly meetings of other fellow, executives. And these guys are like, damn, who makes your suits? And very quickly it became this like, wow, you're like the best dressed guy in Ferrari. Yeah. And then as I felt more comfortable in it, and because next thing also when you wear a suit,
there's an expectation too.
There's that too.
There's that expectation. Yeah.
But when you wear a suit to work every single day, you go from being uncomfortable to become comfortable, right? Exactly. So there was a transition where at first like I wasn't comfortable in my own skin wearing a suit. And I certainly did not have an eye for fashion outside of a suit. What I've always loved about a suit is you don't have to have any fashion sense, right? You know that unless it's black, you don't wear a black belt or black shoes. And after that, if you have a suit, all you know is you just got to pick a shirt and shoes and you're done. So a suit is a cheater, right?
Exactly. A suit's like a dress for women. Like when I'm shopping with female clients, like if you get a dress, you don't have to think about it.
Nothing.
You can wear it matching.
A suit's the best.
It's top to bottom, and you're good to go.
Right, and that's why I hate buying blazers. I don't like buying separates because I don't honestly have the creativity to like put it all together. Yeah. But a nice suit, I can take it off the rack. I know what belt goes with it because it has to match.
Yep.
I know, and I pick a pair of shoes and I'm done. Right. Yeah. But it looks like $1 million. And then I started getting some really cool casual wear from Brent. But same thing, like as you're around something more, you get more of an eye for it.
Absolutely. You know what works, what doesn't work.
And it's fun, man. I gotta tell you, like, and no bullshit. Like, I would say of all the things that I get to experience in my life, which is a lot, I've had a really, that way very fortunate, a lot of experiences in life. I would say that fashion is oddly the most attainable thing to experience life through different eyes, right? So you can't all go out and buy a Ferrari. Not everybody wants to ride a motorcycle. You can't always jump on a plane and go travel the world. But it's strange, like when I wear clothes that are different, I literally experience life differently. Like I've lived in Portland for years. I'm bored to tears. Anybody who knows me, I've been talking about how bored I am in Portland for years. But yet when I walk around Portland dressed up, and not like a joke, but just dressed well, I literally have a different experience walking down the streets of Portland than I do otherwise.
I tell people all the time, to what you were just saying, I think I said on the last episode, fashion has the biggest impact to the most people.
Absolutely.
Because you come in contact with what you wear, how you look like more than anything else. Yeah. Like if you're on a vacation, you're on a vacation, right? If you're driving a car, they have to see you in the car. But you're still getting out of the car. More people are interacting with what you have on than any other medium or any other thing you can show.
Well, and then people talk a lot about how what all these different things that are expressions. Yeah. Right. Look, I mean, Apple makes phones. Cool. Well, why do they make phones in different colors? Well, because different colors are different expressions. And then why do they make even more phone covers? Well, same thing. And why do people personally? I mean, if self-expression wasn't important, every car would be white, right? And da 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 da. So what's funny to me is when people say I don't have fashion sense. Well, you don't need fashion sense. You just need a sense of self.
Exactly.
And you have to understand that sense of self can and should continue from all the other ways that you express yourself to how you dress. Now, if you really don't give a shit, that's cool. That's your sense of self.
Yeah.
Then
I say fashion is identity.
Right. It's identity, right?
For me.
But I would say that,
and it's for everyone, whether you're knowing it's identifying you or not.
Right. But also, even people who say they don't care, like when you get dressed up and you put on something different, and especially if it's special, everyone knows that feeling where you're like, man, I feel good. I feel different.
Everyone, right? you walk differently. Yeah. You stand taller.
It's kind of like people who get high for the first time and it's a light buzz. They're like, man, I don't know what's up, but I just feel a little different, right?
Yeah, something changes. So no. I mean, what you say is what I'm saying. So now you've been in Ferrari, you've done Ducati. You have restaurants. You're man of the year. Let's talk about that really quick. But I want to say, so what's next? Like, what's on the horizon? Student Sip, more days. We talked about going to the auto show in California and having a film.
Yeah, we talked about. I love us to go do that. Talking about doing Car Week in California. Yeah. That's a lot of fun. I don't know. I think it's a big world. There's a lot of experiences. Yeah. And I think that there's two kinds of people. One of my favorite movies of all time is Jiro Loves Sushi.
Okay, never seen it.
I think maybe it's just called Jiro.
It's Jiro.
Just Jiro? Mm-hmm. And it is, you need to watch it. It is probably one of the best documentaries of all time. Every year I would take my whole staff from the bike shop. We'd do a retreat. And the idea was to get away from everything. There was no cell phones. And we just look at the business. And every year the topics of what we had to deal with were different because every year had different obstacles and, right, areas for growth and frustrations. Well, I had this one year that everything was perfect. Like, I had no complaints. The staff was amazing. The business was doing incredibly well. We were on fire. Everybody got along well. Everyone was doing their job. Like, literally went to this retreat, and I'm like, we got nothing to talk about. Because really, it's usually just not to say a bitch fest, but it's
Yeah.
And there was nothing. Like, and I was like, what do we do? How do you make the best better? And then somebody turned me on to this movie, so I watched it. And Jiro, who I think he passed away a couple of years ago, but this dude was in Japan, in the basement of a Subway. He's got a little sushi spot, and I think it holds like 8 or 10 people. And he was known as the best sushi maker in the world. Okay. Only Michelin star, multi-Michelin star rated sushi maker. And the whole movie was about, and he was like, when they filmed the movie, he was like 85, and he had his sons working with him. In fact, one of his sons, Shiro, has a sushi place in Seattle. Oh, but the whole thing with Jiro Loves Sushi was this. Here was a guy whose whole life was dedicated to just being better and better and better and perfecting the art of sushi. Yeah. Right? It's an amazing film. If you haven't seen it, it should be top of your list.
Okay.
But anyway, so I think that's one kind of person, right? The person who really sinks their teeth into and they identify, relate to, want to be part of a thing, whether it's their identity, their success, their whatever, and they just get better and better and better. I mean, for there's other people who also just get complacent, but we're not going to talk about them. So in terms of the success and the push, you have the people who bite into something and that becomes their life's journey, and they never stop trying to find ways to be better at it, to reinvent. I mean, frankly, it's like Madonna, right? Yeah. I always say, like, Madonna, she would constantly reinvent herself. But then you have other people who they do things and they're successful at it, but then they say, cool, well,
what's next?
Now what's next, right? So to that point, I have no idea, right? It's really funny because when I forget about it because it's just been my life, but I did a podcast with another friend of mine about a year ago, and as we're just talking about life, I was like, man, I forgot like how much just different shit I've done, right? Yeah. And so, but nothing that I've ever done has been planned. Like it just happened. So the Ferrari thing's fantastic, and it'll be a great ride as long as it's gonna be a great ride. And who knows what the world's gonna have after that, right? But even that aside, too, you can be doing a thing and have lots of other things that you work on at the same time that fuel your creativity and your need for adventure, and
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ways. For me, I'm definitely the latter. I'm definitely the what's next.
Right.
Always the what's next. Always let's do something else, whatever.
So the question is for you, is it the what's next or is it what's in addition to? And the reason I ask that is, so let's just say at a core, you've got the LifeStyLest, right? Yeah. And the LifeStyLest started out as a stylist, right? Yeah. Then you add...
Mine's addition to.
Okay.
Without question.
Okay.
Addition to.
Yep.
I have an idea. When I started the LifeStyLest, I had an idea what I wanted to be 10 years from now. A general idea, but it had all these different components. And so even now, it's like, okay, this is another version of this. This is an elevated version of this. So connects to something else.
Is it an addition to or is it an evolution? Or both?
Both. Yeah.
Because a lot of the things that you're doing are connected to or influenced by other aspects, but they don't really they're not a natural tie-in.
Yeah. Well, what's funny? To me, they are.
Right.
That's the thing. Right. For me, like, it all makes sense. Like, why? Like, I had people before, they're like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, this. They're like, well, what do you do? I'm like, those are all connected. Like, you don't see how this is connected to this and all these things, and to them, they don't see it. Right. For me, it's like, whatever. I don't need them to see it. But for me, it all makes sense. So, okay, last question. Show's called Style Speaks. How does your style speak for you?
I think it's really simple. That's not true. When I was younger, I really was insecure and I really kind of cared what people thought. Mm-hmm. But at some point, I just stopped caring, right? Yeah. And it was right around like college time when I kind of just, frankly, it was about girls. Girls just didn't like me. And at some point, I just kind of accepted that.
Is this pre-beard? Because the beard changes everything. The beard changes. Real quick. To the point where when I started growing my beard, I used to have fake hair before I got into styling. Grew a beard out, right? And then to the point where people are like, yo, you look so much better. I'm like, did I look bad before?
I agree. Yeah.
Like, I literally was like taken back. Like, all the conversation is not like, they're like, well, no, but I don't know. Now I post photos of me without a beard. They're like, who are you?
A beard is a strange thing.
It's amazing.
I still think it's a trip. I think
in all ages.
And all sexes, and not based on sexuality. No, mine was an accident. I always had a goatee, right? It was like my '90s thing.
That's what I had a goatee too.
I would have probably left it for all I knew. But I went to Italy once, and I was traveling, and at the time I had like a straight razor, and I didn't think about the fact that you couldn't. I just tried to like up my shaving game, so I got like a straight razor.
Yeah.
I'm going to the airport. They're like, "Fool, you can't have this." I was like, "Oh, right." So I thought, well, I'll go to Italy and then I'll buy a razor. And I just never got around to it.
Got you.
Well, 2 weeks later, like, I've got this beard. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I just left it, like, as an accident. But then you fast forward and, like, it's bizarre. Like, I'll be going through airport security and the guy will be like, hey, bro, I got to tell you, that's a great beard. I'm
really?
Like
Janelle James, a friend of mine, she knew when she met me I had no facial hair. Show up one day with a little beard, and she didn't like it. Everyone loved it. And then it's like, now she can't picture me without it.
Right.
She's like, I don't even know who you are without a beard.
That's funny.
I'm just like, okay.
That's super funny.
Yeah, So okay, but yeah, so stuff. You were saying.
What was your question?
I was saying, how did your style speak for you when you were saying you didn't have the ladies?
No, that's actually right. That's super simple. I think it had to come with confidence, but like I wear just whatever I like, and for sure I don't like just normal shit, right? Because if I see it everywhere, it's not inspiring. So it's fun to be different, and not for the sake of being different. It's just what speaks to me, right?
Exactly.
My phone case is pink. Why? I like pink. I just do. I like pink. It's a happy color. No, I'm not trying to be different. I just like pink, right? My buddy E, he loves black. He's head to toe black. Cool, that's his thing. I like bright colors. And I don't really give a fuck. So I guess the easiest way to how style speaks is I wear whatever speaks to me and makes me happy. And the funniest thing is the number of times that I've had somebody say to me, man, I could never wear that.
You just hear it all the time.
Right?
Yeah.
I could never. I've got those flower pants.
Yeah.
The showstopper flower pants. They're the funniest. I love those things. They're probably my favorite piece of clothes in my wardrobe, and I'm happy when I wear. And people, they're just flower pants. People trip out. The number of guys who are like, I could never wear that. Why? Why can't you wear that?
But you know
what?
The
It's
reason
all in their
it's all in their
head.
hair. That's why they can't wear it.
That's it.
It's like, but if they knew when I started being a stylist and I went to the events and my friends were like, I'm not gonna dress up. If they knew how it felt, and then they saw the attention, they were like, oh shit, I'm gonna dress up too.
Which is how it feels. Yeah.
How it feels.
No, it's super fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the end of the day, how's it feel? Like I think my approach to life, business, relationships, it's a little irreverent. It's a little bit of a little wild, a little out of the box, certainly unconventional.
Yeah.
And I would say that my style is like that.
There you go. Oh man.
What are we doing?
I gotta do a fist bump because of coronavirus.
Well, no, just cause. I like that's good.
There we go. Episode 4. We done. Till next time.
Senior year.
Yes, this is it. Upperclassmen. There we go. Brandon Gaston, the LifeSTYLest. Style Speaks, the podcast. We'd like to thank our location sponsor, Dossier Hotel of the Provenance Hotel Group. They're located right in the heart of downtown Portland, next to everything from food to entertainment to nightlife. One of the places you definitely want to check out, Dossier Hotel.